I'm surprised it hasn't been done more often. It was last done in 1996 when Trilby did it. And interestingly enough, they had the same music director, Johnny Jordan, who told me that they used all different songs this time because when you're doing the 60s, you can never run out of music. It's a wonderful theme. You're going to love it.
And they're allowed to pre-stage a little bit. That Volkswagen bus, by the way, that microbus they found in Georgia. And I met a guy named Donnie, who's from Tennessee, who actually did all the painting on it. Yeah, he's great. He's a musician down in Tennessee, but you know what? He's obviously talented all the way around. Look at that's in there.
Well, this bus, I'm told, we'll wait until we see it. We may see some effluent coming out of it.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Then we're not going to say what they're doing in that bus, but this is a 60s theme, so you do the math.
Well, I sat in the bus the other day, and nothing was going on at the time.
Nothing.
We'll have to
see
what was going on.
And they weren't inhaling, I'm sure.
No, not at all. Purple granny glasses here. This is going to be real flower power, dude. You got peace signs. You got the smiley face from the 70s there, but it's basically a late 60s theme. Great music. You'll recognize the music. This is fun. This is going to be one of the most fun performances that you've ever seen a band.
And they've got a great title. They're one of my 3 finalists. It's called A Trip in Time, as in a trip, you know, the 60s. Wonderful pun.
Captain P.J. Broomall, the Peter A. Broomall String Band, and A Trip in Time, reminiscing the free-spirited hippie era. Music had a message, clothing made a statement, and action spoke louder than words. Here we go. Wow. Peter Bruball String Band in its 77th year. Doesn't look a day over Jim Morrison.
Boy, all those Jerry Garcias, the Harry Krishners, I was waiting for them to start panhandling the crowd. That was a terrific first band. And by the way, I want to point out, you're going to hear a lot more from low register horns today. Barry saxes and bass saxes. That band has two real fine young Barry sax players the other night, and Run is the way she does it. Literally running up and down in every member's face, telling them where they have to be and when they have to be there.
Is that like you run a courtroom?
No. She's type AAA. I'm laid back and mellow. But she's a terrific young gal.
And Sheryl Crow, we have to mention.
Oh, of course.
She led a team, but did so much of the work herself, sewing all the suits. I mean, this band sewed its own suits, and largely it fell on Sheryl and about 5 or 6 other people.
Sheryl.
And so,
go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just amazing, Jake. I mean, you just can't say enough about how this is the old Fireman's Band and how they use tradition and find new ways to carry on that tradition.
They are dedicating this parade to Charlie Marescu, the last founding member of the old Duffy String Band, who recently passed away. And on a happier note, band member Charlie Kuchensky, the president, is in his 50th parade this year. And obviously, our congratulations go out to Charlie for hanging in there for a half a century.
Absolutely, and he is the guy that keeps the plumes going. He really is. Our Uncle Sam, by the way, is Ted, the captain. He's going to be carrying 2 pieces to highlight his costume. The first will be a small fan collar with white ostrich plumes trimmed with multi-rows of red, gold, and blue sequins. The second and larger piece will feature an American eagle on the rear that's surrounded with sequins. And the outer part of the piece will feature over 400 ostrich plumes front and rear, arranged in 6 circles surrounding the captain. And Charlie, you've outdone yourself again.
In a world where back pieces are starting to become passé, Duffy corners the market on them. This is part of why they are a true traditional string band. You're going to see more back pieces in this band than perhaps half of the other bands put together.
Last count about 35, and the backdrop there is about 56 feet to give you some sort of scale that we're doing. You know, you mentioned tradition. They're musically traditionalists, aren't they?
Oh, yes. You'll recognize every song. And here they go.
Sign me up. There you have it. Duffy String Band, Stars and Stripes Forever. Nice timpani finish, Jake.
Boy, that was a wonderful timpani finish. So the last band tore up their draft cards, and these guys pasted them back together again. By the way, if any of you noticed that little violin player in the front, she's from the Ukraine. Her name is Svetlana. No one can pronounce her last name when they ask. She lives in the neighborhood and one day just walked into the club, and lo and behold, she could play the violin, and now she's a member of Duffy. Wow. One of the wonderful things about this band, how family-oriented they are, and how they'll take someone in and make them a Duffyite.
All that stuff in the garage on Wilkie Street, and look what they do with it. Just a great, great job. Well, more to come on the 2007. Moving into position now. Since we're mentioning Clancy's, there's Kevin Sr., support driver, and Joanne, and Kevin Jr.
Who both play alto sax. Megan plays the drums.
And Rip McDonald, let's not forget Rip.
He came out of retirement.
83 years old.
And guess what? He's not the oldest musician in this parade, and when we get to that person, I'll give you a hint. But he's close.
This wouldn't be the 90-something.
I promised I wouldn't say how old he was. So now you've blown my cover.
No, I haven't, because we haven't pinned it down.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't. We're just sort of getting there.
But Rip said they... Here we go.
Let's go, Irish American. In their 8th year up the street, they brought the sunshine. Jake Irish American String Band.
That's this theme and how they did it proves that you don't need complicated props to tell a story. You know, they have galoshes and umbrellas, but you get the rain followed by the sun. Rick McDonald told me the band lost 20 members this year. What happens in this hobby is some of the bigger bands will raid and they'll get some of the young talent, but they didn't give up. They brought back a full band, and Rip and Kelly, my favorites.
With a band spangled in hearts playing music about love, they offer us hugs and kisses from the original Trilby String Band. That's the theme, ringing in the new year, the original Trilby String Band, spreading up Broad Street with nothing but love for Philadelphia and the world. Another band that chose to move up its props, its staging.
They've moved them up, but they're still staging them. So far, Duffy has been the only string band that has actually made a completely traditional entrance of crossing the line. This band has got their musicians lined up behind that very, very pretty, looks like a big box of candy, heart prop. By the way, the arrangement for this band was done by Jimmy Crompton, who's a member of my band, Avalon. And this, I think, maybe his first arranging job outside of the confines of Avalon. Of course, he comes from a great musical family. His father, Jerry, the music director.
You know, I think it's so funny. They're competing for bragging rights, and they're competing for prize money, which isn't all that large. But originally, they competed for cakes.
That's before my time. I didn't think anything was before my time.
Just in the first few years, that's all they competed for was food.
Well, the economics aren't much different now. I mean, you can win this parade and win $7,000, but you've spent $125,000. Believe it or not, there are two bands who are spending over $100,000 just for today. And no, most of it isn't beer. Most of it is costumes and props and renting trailers and tractors to pull them. So the economics didn't make any more sense when it was cake than it makes now.
Dave Dorman is the captain. This is the original Trilby String Band.
Dave's 3rd year as captain, and here they go.
This thing called love. Dave Dorman's got it down in the original Trilby String Band, the King of Hearts with a love potion so fine. Love those cupids in the back, Jake.
Didn't you like the first time I've ever seen an entire band enter standing on one prop? So you know that heart is not affected by the wind.
No, that's a heavy prop, and the way it was slanted forward is very stagey.
Oh yes, and as I said, I saw it being built, and it really came together nicely.
I love the makeup on the jesters too, the King's jesters.
Well, they decided to go back to makeup. A lot of the bands are using masks, but this is a theme that really cries out for that kind of makeup. And Dave Dorman, who's dancing in front of us
still
now,
playing to the crowd.
Just a magnificent suit.
For red, very small feathers, boa feathers, and orange.
I like already what I see behind the line. A very unusual color choice for a jungle theme. The orange and the blue, but it really works when you contrast it with the traditional browns and greens of a jungle theme.
Of course, following Greater Overbrook, we have more bands to come. There'll be Uptown String Band with Lumberjack Swing, and after that will be Hegeman String Band. And
you're going to love that. Oh, that's a wonderful theme.
Oh, yeah. And Aqua String Band with Don McGrogan after that, and it just goes on. And as they get into place, one of the things I wanted to hear from you too is, you know how it used to be the perimeter band and the pit band, and they would have different functions, but as Broadway-like or theatrical or fancy brigade influence they have become, do those distinctions about what the perimeter band and the pit band do still apply?
Not nearly as much. For one thing, the perimeter band was the back pieces, and the back pieces were used to cover scenes before they were revealed. Now props do that. There are more back pieces this year, but not the giant, old-fashioned perimeter back pieces. Your point is well taken. This whole string band division has morphed into what is basically a Broadway show in 4.5 minutes with a virtual curtain that goes back and reveals the props that have already been put into place. And so that's why you have the larger props, the props with wheels. The show is an integrated whole now. And even though we're judging separately costume and music and production, they are influencing each other much more than they've ever done before.
All right, getting set to go. Greater Overbrook String Band with Captain Perry DiMatteo. The theme, Welcome to the Jungle. And it's a journey through the jungle to a native village celebration. And when they say they're ready and the starters give them a go, they're going to go for 4.5 minutes. And then they have the walk-off,
which, in spite of the fact that it isn't part of the judging, everybody knows it counts. Whatever the judges hear counts.
You see the captains going back up to the top of the volcano.
Well, this is the first of the bands that's going to show you a novel. Don't trip, Perry. Don't take another step there. Turn around. A novel captain's entry, and that already looks spectacular, and they haven't even started yet. You have to remember that because of the weighted march order, these first 5 bands we've seen today, believe it or not, were the bottom 5 finishers last year.
And it's hard to believe.
And look what they're doing.
Look how good they've
So
been.
you know what's coming, so don't turn that television off.
Just about set. Here we go with Greater O. Fun in the Jungle with Barry DiMatteo and Greater Overbrook String Band.
They've moved up a long way from Mad Notes to Greenville, let me tell you. I think this band is going to move up, and it'll be 4 years ago. Not that I'm a judge, but I can see them better than 15 based on what I saw. Absolutely beautiful.
Elephants are always one of those popular creatures or animals that are in various aspects of the parade all day long, be it in the comics or in the fancies. Saw the element.
We're going to have a stampede of elephants before we're done. That was the first one. And we're going to see some three-dimensional
Bunyan action here from Jamie. And the theme is Lumberjack Swing. This band hails out of Bucks County, and it really likes Lower Bucks County. It does well for them. Does a lot of charity work, Jake, with Gilda's Club and the Veterans Home. And they've really embraced Humeville, where they're based. They practice at William Penn Firehouse and are open. Their rehearsals are open. They invite people from the community to come in. They're just a really great group. And as Jamie is one of the leaders of that, that's outstanding.
They've got the Northland of themselves. Now, you know, the gentleman you see running around in the front with the bass horn does a lot of things for this band. His name is Russell Coleman. And I want to mention something very special about Russ. If you're into string band history like I am, and I know like you are, Russ runs a website called String Band Archives, and you can get on it, www.stringbandarchives.com. And it's going to blow all my secrets, you know, all these stats I have. It is a marvelous website. And Russ, who's a young guy, is completely into the history of this sport, this hobby, call it what you will. And he has audio tapes going back into the 60s and 70s, every prize from every band back to 1915. It's a wonderful, wonderful website.
Now, in this theme here, it's a lumberjack theme, a happy lumberjack theme. However, you might think that lumberjacks normally get the upper hand on the trees. That may not be the case here, and
not on all of them.
Be warned, beavers using chainsaws.
This is a fun theme. This theme kind of has like a cartoon quality to it. The beavers using chainsaws, the trees that move. It's a wonderfully fun, upbeat theme. The arranger, by the way, is John Pacharski, who's a radiologist. He practices up in Massachusetts. He was in the band for years. He came back, shut down his practice for a week to come back and march in the band. They also have someone in the band who comes from Maine, Jeff Kirby. So when I say this band is from the north, they're so far north they draw members from New England.
Yep, and they're talking North American here. Experience a day in the life of a hard-working but fun-loving North American lumberjack with Uptown's 2007 presentation, Lumberjacks Swing. And we're just about ready to let the axe fall. Here we go. This land is your land, Jamie Caldwell. Excellent performance down by the riverside. The trees are alive. Clever percussion, just an outstanding performance from Uptown, Jamie.
Good harmony singing. Oh, you love I'm a Lumberjack. Little Monty Python. There goes my man, Jamie Caldwell.
To make sure that everything they did in this performance coming up works. John is a teacher, by the way, at Owen J. Roberts in Chester County. And he also, I believe, is still the men's basketball coach at Wynn and Mercy College. Met his wife in Hegeman. And
who actually went up pregnant a few years ago. Remember that? They had to change her costume because she couldn't fit into the one they booked for.
So this is going to be fun. As Jake described it, obviously, it's a 1950s theme. It's out and out 50s. Don't necessarily think Elvis, think 1950s. And they might go off. They were still debating whether to go off to an Elvis tune or not.
And but they had wonderful tunes. I mean, the 50s were great. I mean, the 60s were great too. But some of the things you're going to hear in this theme, Chantilly Lace, In the Still of the Night, done like the Five Satins did it, Why Do Fools Fall in Love. These are very, very well-chosen 50s tunes.
Did they answer that question?
I don't know, but they're not fools, but you'll fall in love with this one.
Yes, you will. This is Hegeman String Band. Rock and roll is here to stay.
You like that? Look at that hair.
I want to see Vincent.
I want to see me with it.
No, this costuming is out of sight. Look at the women.
I know. It's the ones on top.
The poodle skirts. Oh, this is outstanding.
I'll tell you.
This is a visual explosion.
And little kids in the front with yellow beanies.
All right, here we go. Keep an eye on the center, ladies and gentlemen, and up the ramp. Hegeman String Band, Captain John Barron, and
Notice
rock
the
and roll.
headlight is already on.
Here to stay. Here we go. String Band spraying hairspray, a 57 Chevy,
Well,
eating fries, doing the hand job.
Every year there's some prop that you will always remember, and this year it's the hairspray cans.
Oh, that was greatly done. That was wonderful. That was just wonderful. Creative. They're going to get such high marks for production. It's wonderful. Look how disciplined they still are. This is what we were talking about, the walk-off, which is not officially a part of the judging, but you know, it's part of that style of a performance.
It is, and they work on that just as if it was part of the judging. I tell you the truth. If you say, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a French fry. I mean, this guy, that kid up there was a French fry, and the other one was a hot dog. It was a great, and the music was well done.
The diners were excellently done.
And the props flipping around. It was an eye feast. And you know what I really liked about those dancers? You just see every...
He still is the coach. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, John. Aqua String Band getting ready now. Don McGrogan, the captain. And this is dedicated, by the way, this is a great story, to Rose Mulgrew, who Jake is going to be how old?
100 on January 11th.
Yep.
You got it.
And I know you'll love this title.
Oh, yeah.
Rated R. Rated, R-A-I-D-E-D.
And then an R like the movie Rated R. And on the front of their entry vehicle, it has the square around it like the movie ratings.
So here's the setting. It's the year 1720. It's the golden age of pirates. Now, of course, the Mummer has already been around for years before that, but nonetheless, it's the golden age of pirates. We've got a diverse crew that's been at sea for months, and they're yearning for an opportunity to sharpen their merriment and plundering skills. One fine morning, and well, they're ambitious, understaffed Imperial Port Town is spotted. What ensues will quickly become pirate yarn fodder for years to come, and the subject of our next performance by Aqua String Band. Privateers and Buccaneers.
You're going to like the drill on this one. Last year they got dumped a little bit in their drill, but Don McGrogan says not this year. They're going to move and move and move some more.
No, he did say that. He's never danced this hard in his life.
No, I know. I watched him do it one night. One of those reasons I'm glad I retired.
Little String Band and Don McGrogan. Dvorak and the Beer Barrel Polka in the same performance.
You gotta love that.
You gotta love that. Any band that can do that is all right by me.
Well, we got a band doing Shostakovich a little bit later, and he wasn't the happiest guy in the world.
But they don't do it. Do they do the Beer Barrel Polka?
No, they don't do that. They don't do that. Now, this band featured the youngest and the oldest marcher on Broad Street. They have an 8-year-old, I'm not kidding, 8-year-old alto sax player. He's not playing a fake alto, he's playing a real alto.
That's Eddie, right?
Eddie Maminsky, whose dad is a detective, who also plays in the band. And I said to his father, "Boy, this kid's going to be better than you one of these days." And he said, "No, he's already better than me."
And you know what the guys were saying too is that he's got the routine down so much he'd be tugging on the older band members, the adults, saying, "No, you're going in the wrong direction."
And he's not much bigger than his alto. It looks like a Barry with him, but he's a nice young kid.
And the older member?
The older member is a guy named Cy Daly, who he told me not to tell his age, but he told me I could tell people that his first parade was 1933.
So he's 92 or 93.
So you take your I didn't say that. You take your calculator out. And let me tell you, he looks terrific. He plays the accordion. And, you know, I hope I'm upright when I'm 10 years younger than he is.
Can you imagine that? 92 years old. These folks walk 2 miles or so up the street. They perform several times along Broad Street.
And Cy is a real gentleman and very, very nice. He's one of the dancers, and when I watched him drill a few weeks ago up at Southampton on the Boulevard, I said to someone, "Is this kid made out of rubber?" And I don't know whether he can
move that way. Is Jimmy the one that looks like Schultz, like Skip Schultz?
No, he's bald, and there's another guy in the dancer who looks just like him. I thought they were twin brothers.
Yeah,
His name is Skip Schultz.
Yeah,
he's the other one. He's made out of rubber too. So you know this band is and I've got I will make sure to mention the single funniest event associated with this parade. And I don't think I can do it now.
Well, 07 is GK's 60th anniversary, and we're going to see what they're going to do here. Come on now. Greater Kensington, Scott Moyer. Here we go. A prince of a performance by Scott Moyer and the Greater Kensington String Band. Clever use of the three-sided spinning panels back there. The magic carpet ride was great, and the sword play, wasn't that something?
It was excellent. It was excellent, and there's the detail of those back pieces that look like a regular back piece until you see it on the other side. It's a cobra coming out of the basket. Now, the funny story about this band. The Elephant.
cracking the mountain and grabbing the gold. VA trying to go for the gold tonight. Another good performance. Yep. A very steady and always great band, Polish American.
And we're now starting to hear the really intricate music. I mean, and this, you may have, if you noticed, all of a sudden, this band had the 16th note runs. We're going to have a run on that, I think, as we hear more of the top bands. They did a really good job with Aaron Copland's Hoedown Medley. My wife and I were at the Philadelphia Orchestra last night, listening to Aaron Copland's Third Symphony. And, you know, this is not the Philadelphia Orchestra, but let me tell you, they did a very fine job with some very tough classical music. And, of course,
the bass fiddle solo was interesting, too.
Yes,
it
was. Yes, it was. And they did, and they had some terrific dynamics. But especially when they came down, you could hear the bell solo so well.
Wouldn't that be a fun band to party with? You know, they and Tom Robeson, Woodland String Band presents Island Fever. It's a Caribbean theme, and Woodland has one of my favorite, also funny themes from 1998. Do you remember that one? That is The Toys Are Back in Town.
Yes, indeed. The Toys, and they've also won the Custer's Last Stand Award twice. By the way, this band does something, I don't know whether other bands do it, but I was very impressed that they do it. They have sort of like a corporate assessment of their performance 3 or 4 days after New Year's, and they have people get together, they have PowerPoint slides, and they talk about exactly what they would do differently and how they're going to improve. So they're trying something that no one's done for a long time, and that is, in fact, they're trying to do something no one's ever done, which is to win a parade with the same theme that won it the previous year. Frailinger won last year with a Latin theme. No band has ever repeated a theme and won twice with it. So Woodland, if they can do it, will be breaking new Mummer ground.
And this could be a year that new Mummer ground is broken one way or the other.
That's
Frailinger
right.
gets 5 in a row. Quick note, former captain Dave Anderson Jr.'s mother, Florence, passed away this March. Everyone misses Floss, and our best to the whole Anderson family still. So Woodland String Band and Tom Robeson in his second year as captain. Here we go. Tom and company need a vacation after that one. Non-stop performance. Don't want a cure for that island fever. Great job, Deo, from that moment on. Crisp movement, smooth transitions. Great job for Woodland, Jake.
Like that costume change that Chris came out with, all of a sudden that white suit at the end. And by the way, that real cornrows he has in his hair, I wonder if he's going to keep them after today.
It's a good look.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I loved this band last year with that robot theme, and I thought they should have done a lot better, and I have a feeling they're going to do a lot better. That was an outstanding.
Probably going to get there.
But if we can't get it there, I'd like to see Woodland do it.
There's another band that may get there, of course. Pretty soon
here they
again.
go.
Here's South Philadelphia String Band, and last year they introduced something new to the parade, and that was the tarp. And it was the train theme. That's entertainment, and they had a railroad track tarp underneath them. And there was some concern that, you know, whether would it get slippery, would people slip on it, whether it was wet or not. But they've come back with another tarp. And it's interesting, Jake, to me that the other bands, none of them so far anyway, has decided to use a tarp.
Well, I think if they win with it, you're going to see some more tarps. But I think there's a chance you take. And boy, this is the year it could have bitten them you know where, because those things can get very slippery when they get wet. And here you go. They almost were in the rain, but now, fortunately, luck has smiled on them, and it's nice and dry, and the tarp is spectacular. This band is going to take us back to the turn of the century with an old-fashioned circus theme, and the costumes are perhaps the most elaborate and beautiful on the entire street today.
Well, the tarp obviously lends itself to creating and helping to create even more of the atmosphere of a big top. The Ferris wheels moving into position. Hot air balloons.
And you can see the
position.
The props are just like one after another after another. I mean, this is one of the bands that probably needed 5 tractor trailers just to bring their props up the street. I asked Chris Martucci, what are they going to do to try to improve on their 4th place from last year? And he said, well, very simply, we're going to try to beat ourselves.
You know, it's the same thing Fralinger says, too.
Look at this. The hot air, how is that thing going up in the air? Look at this.
Look at that. It's moving up.
Well, here we go. He wouldn't tell me what the spectacular entrance was.
Well, I think we're beginning to see it. Oh, I see. It's on a lift.
But see, there you go. You got to keep the.
It's only right at the top that you see the portion of the lift.
It's a brilliant idea.
Keep an eye to your right there.
And you got the strong man who I suspect is going to.
Here we go. followed up the ambient eye space. This is amazing. Every backdrop around there, you see what they want you to see. This is amazing.
This was the single best performance as a performance that I can ever remember in a Mother's Movie. I'm not talking about music.
Say that one more time.
As a performance. Now, the music was great, but I'm talking about the whole visual eye candy of this performance. I have never seen anything like it. I dropped my pencil when it was over.
This is amazing. And I want to say it again, too, because I really believe this is key. Look at how they frame the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it makes it difficult for some of the folks in the stands to see, but at home, you saw, and the judges in particular saw, exactly what South Philadelphia, and almost only what South Philadelphia wanted you to see.
And it was one reveal after another, and after you've seen everything, out comes Emmett Kelly. The nice thing about what they did, it wasn't just a circus. It was a turn-of-the-century circus. Perfectly done, every detail of a circus from 1900. Not 1920 or 1930 all together around a central figure. And no one does it like Bob Shannon, which is why people say, well, how did he get second-place captain? He didn't do anything. Well, he did. He did what he does. And, of course, the contrast, and you're going to see it later with Phil Rotundo, who's more like the Fred Astaire of captains, who can dance on his head. That's another approach, and he's won first-prize captain as well. So both ways will do it.
And the judges are nimble enough to appreciate each style.
Oh, sure.
It's what you do on this day at this hour to help your band have the best presentation. If we're going to see a performance that features a Viking raid and turrets there that you see while watching, they're going to turn into something else. And Captain Shannon being a Viking king, of course, but you'll never guess what he's going to turn into.
Oh, yes.
I know you've seen it, Jake.
I have seen it.
So you'll know.
No, I'm not going to reveal it.
Let's say there's humor.
Absolutely.
And there's some great trolls in here and a few other things. It is a standard, great Quaker City performance. They keep bettering themselves every year. Here we go. Brunhilde Shannon.
There you go. It's not over till the fat lady sings.
Can Quaker City catapult itself to first prize, to #1?
What's in your wallet? There you go. Those happy Vikings. That was
a 40-foot ship, a tall mast, the catapult.
Can you believe that ship? Look at
that is amazing. It's taking up the whole street.
It's 40 feet long.
And how the band was able to move around up the mountains or the icebergs or the fjords and get up into the boat and move all around as they were able to do. How Bob was able to get from one point to another.
What this band does, no one else does it as well, is they do complex things effortlessly. You never really look. It never really looks like they're working that hard, and yet everything is always perfect.
And you heard that in the music too, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was good, hard, classical music, and they executed it what seemed like in a very smooth, flawless fashion.
Well, the Norwegian Wood was particularly nice with the 6/8 time that then went into 3/4 time, which is the opposite of the way the Beatles did it, but it was very effective.
It was just an amazing performance again, time after time after time. If you were to, and I know this is a bit unfair, I do this to you every time,
yeah, I know.
But the last...
And last year, Avalon finally put the music together, got second place in music. But the drill was a little off and the costumes were a little off and they ended up 6th. So now they got to keep that music up there and do a typical Avalon performance, and maybe they can knock Frailage around the driver's seat.
Well, their concept for their theme is that it's the tradition of excellence continues with the Avalon String Band. The band invites you to rendezvous with the decaying dead of Phantom Manor. Doesn't necessarily sound good, but trust us, they make it sound good. Do dare to traipse across the tinder ground of our gruesome graveyard and join us in the grand foyer of our humble home, the doorway to the house's ghastly secrets, to witness a meticulously choreographed celebration of spectral gaiety.
And you're going to see another unique captain's entry, knock wood, if it works. By the way, this is the band's 25th year.
Here we go. might say, Jack Key was coughing up entertainment.
Oh, nicely done.
Nice entrance from Jack. No one's ever come in on a coffin like that.
Well, I'll tell you, the joke was, what if that coffin doesn't open and he's going to end up dead at the end of it because it was hot in that coffin.
Oh,
they were just fabulous. I'm proud of my guys. Maybe this is the year. I certainly know there's 64 guys out there who want it to be the year.
You should see inside the bass drum. Can you ever won 5 in a row? They have won 4 in a row. They are trying for 5. They are dedicating this parade to Joe Kelly, who passed away at a relatively young age, one of the drummers. He was sick, but March last year, he wanted to be a part of what they were calling 4 in a Rio. It was a Latin theme. Now they're saying 5 in a row as an arrow. For Joe, this is a Native American theme. Captain Bill Bowen Jr., the title One in Spirit, a Native American journey in dance, drums, and music. This is Fralinger String Band with a wonderful concept.
I asked Bill Bowen, how are you going to win 5 in a row? He says, we did the same thing we did to win 4 in a row. Same score, same approach, non-stop movement. Don't fix what isn't broken. And boy, nothing about this band is broken, so why fix it?
Band members still moving into position. This is another band. Fralinger is one of the standard bearers, if not the standard bearer, the high mark for music, precision, and complexity. And you're going to hear it again right here. right mind, no one would be a judge. Fralinger String Band, absolutely fantastic. Fralinger is a force of nature.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. We have just seen Homer's history.
That just very well could be. Production, outstanding. Musical, exactly what you would expect. Musical effect and everything. And I love the buffalo herd coming at you.
And the way that they managed to use it twice, I mean, that's kind of a neat little trick. You see that prop once, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's up again after they reveal the eagle, which is itself spectacular. Again,
2007, it's time for a Mexican fiesta. Turning swinging south of the border. Captain Jerry LaRosa moving into position here.
My friend Jerry, who works with me down at the courthouse, and I always give him a plug. Courthouse mummers, there aren't too many of us. We also have Alex Stewart from South Philadelphia, who is the court security officer.
We've seen a lot of, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This is an interesting band because what you can see here is what a band can do when it isn't that large. Everything they were wearing, they made themselves. They ordered their costumes off the internet and then fixed them up, and they really put on a great show. They're getting ready to start. Turning swinging south of the border.
Look at the cactus.
The cactuses are great. There's a cacti.
The cacti.
Yes, of course.
Dirting String Band and Jerry LaRosa. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Jerry's hoping Mr. Scavo taught him Spanish at Bishop Newman is
He wanted
proud.
to thank him especially for that. He also told me, by the way, they have that 2 of their horn players couldn't go up the street this year because they were both pregnant. So maybe that's why they tell you not to drink the water.
Is that Renee and Colleen?
That's Renee and Colleen. Now, that was a fun theme, and Maynard Ferguson's arrangement of Manteca has never been interrupted by Speedy Gonzalez.
They do.
And they're doing a perfect theme for it this year. You know, 1940s American in Paris, Gene Kelly, great music, great costumes, and
they're
a good
crisp
show.
and they're smooth and they're powerful. In fact, the open is really interesting. They like range in music and they like subtlety, and they can also be really right in your face. And at the beginning, they're really quiet, aren't they, Jake?
They
and then
are.
all of a sudden, boom!
This is a very unique opening, which will be obvious as soon as you hear it, and we'll talk more about it afterwards. But this, you're going to like this show, and this is a band, another one, that could knock off the champ.
And get a load of the Spice Rack that we're going to see, too.
Oh, they do clever things like that. And they still use violins, by the way. Not all the bands do that anymore.
All right. This is the Joseph A. Furco String Band, Captain Phil Rotundo, and Under Paris Skies. Looks like they're just about ready to go.
Setting the scene as in a Paris street scene with the subway over to the left of the screen. And I said you'll see Captain Rotundo come out as a visiting American, and he will transform himself into a Frenchman by the end of the weekend.
Yes, they can. A powerful, fluid, fun, and crisp performance again by Perco String Band.
I call this band Gentle Elegance because they are powerful, but they never overwhelm you. They're just subtle and gentle. They opened up with accordions. They have actually more accordion players than Polish American. And they had a wonderful violin solo, a fellow named Mike Salzberg, who's such a good violinist that he can be heard over an entire string band, and you heard him.